this is Sue for Parkies and Me, my journey with Parkinson's. Today I wanted to talk about emotional and physical connections. The title is I'm a Hugger, is this a Parkies thing? Now, my cousin's just been round to drop something off to my place, and she said two things that stuck with me. First of all, she said, your voice doesn't sound anywhere near as gravelly as it has on the last podcast. And she said, maybe you should think about doing your podcasts and recording them in the evening or late afternoon. And I think she has a point. My voice at the moment is really good. So maybe it's just that early morning gravel voice that I don't need for doing these things. The other thing she said when she was leaving was, oh, I forgot you're a hugger, as I gave her a hug just before she left. And I stopped and I thought about it, and I thought this was a good topic for a Parkinson's blog. Now, I grew up in a family where my dad might have given me hugs, but my mother was never very gregarious. She was absolutely never a hugger. In fact, I remember when I was a teenager, I had this really, really bad toothache, and I was crying. I was in so much pain, and my mum put her arms around me and gave me a hug. And I stopped crying because I was just like, oh, this is different. Mum's actually giving me a hug. And it pulled me up short because my mum was very much not a hugger. She was very much not an expresser of her feelings at all, either physically or verbally. So yeah, for Mum to give me a hug was like, oh, crikey, there's this hug thing going on that I've never felt before. And I think I've always been quite affectionate with my husband, my children, and I've always hugged them and told them I love them. But I've extended it now to my friends, to my family, to my extended family. I'll hug anybody. Yeah, I'm just a hugger bugger at the moment. And I'm just wondering, it's a different thing, isn't it? A hugger bugger. Could be a bit of a strange thing. Anyway, so yes, I'm just wondering whether this increased hugging, if you like, this increased need to have a connection is something to do with Parkinson's. Perhaps somewhere in the back of our minds, with everything that's going on with our brains, maybe we just need that connection more. We need that physical touch. We need to know when we're with people that we love and that love us. And so, yeah, I just sort of thought, I wonder if this is a Parkinson's thing. I mean, there are a lot of ways that Parkinson's sort of makes itself known. And yeah, this could be one of them. And I think too, because my mum was never a hugger, or one to say I love you, I always made a special point of saying to my children, especially if we had a really rough day when they were little, I always made a special point of saying to them, I love you. I haven't loved your behaviour today, but I love you and I will always love you. Because I didn't like to think of a small person who'd been yelled at by their mummy probably more than a couple of times that day to go to bed thinking that mummy didn't love them anymore. Because nothing could be further from the truth. Yeah, back to this hugging thing. If I'm a hugger accentuated, I wonder if there's any of you out there who have noticed that you crave that hug, that you crave that touch, like you never have in your previous life. That there's human-to-human connection, that hug. You know, if you're a person who shook hands, do you now give somebody a very brief hug? Just see if you're a hugger now. Maybe you've not even noticed. Maybe people want to give you a hug as a way of expressing their support and love for you. It's a bit like those acts of service, speaking about the power of hugs. Unfortunately, in 2020, we lost my oldest son to an undiagnosed heart condition, which was tough. Of course it was tough. But on my first day back at work, I walked into the ward and we had a ward clerk there who was tough as nails. She'd been raised in foster care and she was no pushover when it comes to emotions. She didn't show much emotion at all. And when I walked into the ward, she stood up and said, "Can I give you a hug?" And I just nodded, and I couldn't speak, because that was a real gift from this lady, because she very much did not show her emotions. And as she was hugging me, she said, "Don't you cry. You're not allowed to cry." And I said, "I'm trying hard not to." So yeah, there's power in those hugs, especially if it's given to you by a non-hugger. It means so much. So even if you don't have the words to say what you want to say, remember the power of the hug. The hug speaks volumes. A hug says, "I love you." A hug says, "I'm here for you." A hug says, "I want to be there for you when you need me." So a hug says so much more than a physical touch. A hug is a physical connection, sure, but it is also an "I love you." And sometimes it comes with an "I love you," and sometimes it doesn't. And it probably doesn't need to. The mere fact that that person feels close enough to you to give you a hug is everything. So the next time somebody wants to give you a hug or ask for a hug, don't hold back, because that may be just a thing that they need in their day. And you never know, it might be just a thing that you need in yours. So I'm Sue for Parkies and Me. I'm certainly a hugger and intend to continue to be so. I hope you'll join me on my journey. Kia kaha, be strong, be brave, be you.